At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Tenisja.
And I am Priscilla. Nyenator, good morning. This is a new day. Welcome. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This platform or the broadcast on this platform, we invite you to dialogue around social justice issues with emphasis on gender justice. We are challenging societal attitudes and promoting a culture of respect and equality. We hope that someday, as we continue to have these kind of conversations, we will be able to get to a place where we all have our equal humanity recognized. Today, I have with me the leadership of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, ALJA for short. So we have with us the Secretary General of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the America, Mrs. Akai Glidden. From her formative years in junior high, Akai demonstrated a profound passion for journalism. Actively, she participated in high school press clubs. So this early interest paved the way for her to obtain her certificate in broadcasting from the Ghana School of Journalism and the Christian Media Center in Liberia. Akai's professional journey began in 2008 with the Infinity Corporation or Power FM and TV, where she started as an intern. By 2009, her talent led to her full-time employment as a reporter. While at Power TV, Akai's, her talent became evident. So covering a different sector, she covered politics, she covered religion to business. She reported from notable departments such as the Ministry of Information, NEC, which is the National Election Commission, the Ministry of Defense, and more. Akai's dedication to journalism saw her co-presenting Powerline, or Distinguished Public Affairs TV program with her news director at the time. Her commitment and multifaceted skills were soon recognized, and she claimed the ranks of newscaster, presenter, and by 2011, an administrator. And Akai also participated in a lot of international trainings, and she has an extensive portfolio of certificates in areas like news reporting and editing, which means right broadcast management and administration, and media law and ethics. She obtained from reputable institutions like the Department of State Exchange Program, Liberia Media Center, where I worked for 5 years or more, 2008 until I came over. Um, Press Free Press Limited, Netherlands, and Action A and Siemens. So today, Akai is serving. Oh, no, I have to say this part. Akai also participated in International Visitor Leadership Program for journalists sponsored by the Department of State. Akai holds an esteemed position of Secretary General for the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas. She has been re-elected twice to this role conservatively, and she continued to dedicate her time, her expertise, her experience to this cause, and has the high regard of her peers who re-elected her. Thank you so much, Akai. Thank you for joining us today on New Day on Focus on Liberia.
Thank you for having me, Priscilla. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
It's a pleasure.
Uh, And we also have, and then we have with us the president. The president, oh my God, he's a two-term president of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, a role that he has championed with dedication and finesse. So, his name is Mr. Joe Mason. I don't think that Joe Mason is a stranger to a lot of us, but just for the sake of benefit of the doubt to others who are not aware of this, um, great journalist and leader of our time, especially within the Liberian diaspora. He served as the president of ALJA. Joe made his first mark on ALJA in 2015 when he was elected as the vice president, and then he moved on to become president for two terms. But before then, Joe had worked in Liberia, working with the Liberia Communication Network in various roles as producer, reporter, and newscaster for both radio and television. And then he became news editor. Joe has awards in different areas, prestigious award from the President of Liberia, Journalist of the Year award, and Newscaster of the Year award. He ran a program called Society and Religion, um, which was one of Liberia's top radio broadcast program. Joe has bachelor's a bachelor's degree in mass communication and English from the University of Liberia, and then he earned a master's degree in public administration and non-profit management from Hartland University in St. Paul, Minnesota. Please welcome audience and listeners, our president of the Association of Liberian Journalists, ALJA. I almost call him the president of the press union of Liberia. But thank you for joining us, Mr. Joe Macy. I am just so excited to have you joining me for the first time on a new day. And so I don't even know what to say right now, but I am so thrilled to have you joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priscilla, for that very, very kind introduction. I am really pleased to be here. A little disappointed that this is my first appearance on a new
Wow.
day since the program started. But thank you for the incredible work you do, and I'm looking forward to an engaging conversation. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. Thank you. That's kind of you, but yeah, I appreciate that. So for us who follow the Liberian media, I mean journalists, even in the diaspora, some of us are aware, but there are others who are not. So if you can just briefly describe the mission of ALJA So, audience, we're going to be referring to the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, as ALJA for short, if this is your first time learning of this organization. So, Mr. Mason or Mrs. Glidden, if you want to, is it okay to just refer to you by your first name? I already started doing that anyway.
That's perfect, guy. I'm surprised you even putting handles to the name. That's that.
Because I know it was Joe who gave me feedback one time after the end of one of my program, and like, when you start referring to people as auntie and uncles on a platform and make people, yeah. So okay, so I'm going to refer to you by your first name. But yeah, so just tell us briefly, describe the mission of ALJA for our audience who may not be familiar with the association.
So let me take the first leap, and I'm sure the national sector will follow. But ALJA, for short, is an advocacy organization. It was established in 1998 by a number of journalists who fled Liberia during the height of the civil crisis. They arrived in the States and felt that their voices needed to be heard even while they were outside the country. They felt it was important to continue to speak on those issues, very important to sustaining our democracy, whether it was freedom of the press, free speech, the rule of law, issues around good governance. They felt those were important issues to continue to speak to in terms of what was occurring in the country. So that is what ALJA does. But ALJA is also in the process of building the capacity of our colleagues in Liberia. We believe that we're fortunate to be here in the United States. We're blessed, and we're in a much more better position than many of our colleagues in Liberia. So we felt that it's important for us to come together, put our resources together, and be able to give back in such ways as building the capacity for the media in Liberia, realizing that significant challenges exist. Providing scholarships for students, potential journalists, or future journalists who go to the Department of Communication Media Studies at the University of Liberia. So those are things ALJA continue to do on a consistent basis. Advocacy, building capacity, scholarship, those kind of things. So that's the core mission for ALJA, and maybe the SG can add something that I might have omitted.
I think you did mention all of our mission statements, and those are things we are involved with in the organization. ALJA, a powerhouse organization, not only in the United States, but Liberia as well, very involved with the government of Liberia, local and international organizations, as he mentioned, uh, capacity building in every other opportunity we can provide to support the Liberian media landscape. And not only that, ALJA is also partnering with organizations here in the United States to provide training opportunity for Liberian journalists that are based in the diaspora.
Oh, that's good. Okay. All right, great, great. Um, are you ready to just give us a few names of the organizations in the US that you are partnering with um, before we get to Liberia?
Yeah, so like I said, and the SG correctly echo that. One of the things we do is building the capacity of our colleagues. For us to be able to do that, provide training, build capacity, it was important for us to form partnerships and relationships with institutions, media institutions, and organizations that will help us in our goal. Um, we've been fortunate to have this relationship ongoing now for the last, I would say, 4 years with the Herbert School of Journalism at the University of Minnesota. They've partnered with us consistently now
Okay.
for the past 2 years. And they will again be assisting us when we do meet here, and we'll talk more about that. But we do meet here in Minnesota for our convention, because when we meet for our conventions, we hold these workshops, which we believe is important in providing the training and capacity for not just folks in our midst who practice, but many of our colleagues who travel from outside the U.S., especially from Liberia, who are coming. So they will lend their expertise. We are hosting this event on their campus. So that is one organization that we've partnered with that has yielded benefit for the media and for ALJA more generally. Also, the Institute on Community Integration is another organization that is based here in Minnesota. They can provide uh, minimum funding to ALJA on a consistent basis, but we appreciate that because they bought into the vision, they bought into the ideals for which ALJA stand, and they said to us we will be able to assist on this small basis. So hopefully that is something that we can see increase in as the years go by. But what we've also done too, Priscilla, that I've mentioned, when we do go for conventions in different states, we engage media institutions, we engage colleges and universities that have media departments, so that way they're lending their expertise to us to help us in our capacity building effort. We're also building relations with individual journalists and media houses, whether it is the Minnesota Public Radio, where we will visit at this convention, uh, and professionals in the field, so that way we're reaching out to them and say, hey, a convention is coming up. We know you're experts in this field. Can you lend us your expertise? So institutions and individuals, whether it is the universities, the media houses, we believe it's important for us to be able to achieve our core values and our core mission in establishing and maintaining this relationship with these institutions and individuals on a consistent basis.
Okay. I think you have mentioned convention a few times, and I'll get to the convention. But I wanted to look into Liberia. So it sounds like you are doing amazingly in the U.S. or in the diaspora, um, with all these partnership with universities and other organizations. In Liberia, though, I think there is a media fund drive or some funds because you are working with other partners in Liberia. So tell us a little bit about the media fund drive.
Well,
Any of
is that me or us?
any of you can take that.
Okay, let me explain, and
Okay.
if you please feel free to come in anytime or
Okay.
augment what I said anytime. So we do have what we call the Media Development Fund, right? And that Media Development Fund is a crucial tool for fostering a free, independent, and vibrant media ecosystem in a developing country such as ours. We realize that by ourselves as individual members of ALJA, because the bulk of our funding comes from our membership in terms of dues they pay, fees they paid at these different events that we host. But we realize that that is not enough for us to be able to make a significant impact in the media landscape in Liberia. So we decided to hold the Media Development Fund drive whenever we hold our convention. It's our way of saying to ourselves and then inviting partners and friends who believe in our core value to say, look, can you come together this one time and we'll do that again when we do host the convention in Minnesota this year at our marquee event, which will be on Saturday the 16th, to say to them, can we all come together and raise money, put us in this pool, and it is from that pool that AJA support this mission, whether it is the capacity and the training we are engaging in Liberia, whether it is the scholarship we're able to provide for students that I mentioned earlier, whether it is the logistics that we provide to media houses. We've been doing that consistently now. So that is why the Media Development Fund was established as a way of just raising money to be able to help AJA achieve its core value and in terms of just impacting the media landscape on a consistent and daily basis.
Yeah, before even launching the Media Development Fund, like we mentioned, we partner with the President of Liberia, CMS, and other local organizations there in Liberia. And we are very aware of the many needs in Liberia, and especially empowerment. Those were one of the main issues and concerns that were raised. And Aja thought, how can we help how can we help in tackling those problems that journalists are faced with. And so we brought about this idea and we introduced this to the membership who collectively support this idea, and some of our partners and friends that were all willing to support it. And initially when we started, it was just a little thing. We just donated like a 10 or 11 micro recorders. When we started, we it was not at the point at which it has expanded. It was just a mini micro recorder, but based on the transparency and the coverage that was given, because everything, ALJA is a credible organization. All of these monies that were contributed to our organization, we provide a report so the public and our membership and everyone can be able to see how those funds were expended and who were the beneficiaries. And based on what they have seen, a lot of people took interest in that, and we continue to receive more funding within that direction. And that we extended our support not only to media institutions in Liberia, but we were also able to provide the equipment to stations in the leeward counties, like in Grand Bassa, in Banga, in Bomi, and other surrounding counties. Look around. We all are very aware of the challenges in Liberia, and with the proliferation of media institutions. Can you believe there are some institutions over there, especially in the Leeward County? As I was listening to one of the recipients, he said, "This is timely because at this station we only have one laptop, and when the station manager leaves the station, we have to wait. We go on the field, we come back, we don't even have anywhere to write our stories. We have to wait for the station manager to come back with his laptop before we can enter our stories and all of these things." And even there were some other institutions in Morovia for where I work for Power FM, Power TV, when the former vice president Pee Wee Besa visited the institution. They were like, "Oh, thank you so much, ALJA. This is very timely because we have had incident where we had criminals came in and stole our equipment that we had here. Right now, we are out of supplies, and this is something that we really need to help." So you can imagine how a media institution running with all the necessary gadgets they need to carry out their work, not to be waiting for or editor one computer or wait for the one. So there's a whole lot of change we have made. We can do it all. And today, in few days, we're going to be having our banquet and fundraising dinner. We just want to encourage people, all of our partners that are viewing. This is a very great initiative. This is something worth contributing towards for you to do more in terms of providing support to our media landscape. Whatever you support to ALJA, this is something that's going to benefit the Liberian media because the Liberian media is struggling.
All right, thank you, Akai.
I couldn't have done a better sales job of marketing the reason for the fund drive than what the Secretary General just did. Thank you, Madam SG. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to just transition into the convention. I'm sure it's at the convention that the banquet that Akai mentioned is going to be happening. So you tell us a little, you tell us about the convention. When is the convention, and what are the activities that you have lined up for the convention? And then how often does the convention happen?
So the convention is a yearly event. It's an opportunity for members of ALJA to come together to just take stock, basically, of where we've been over the course of the year, and then look forward to the next year in terms of what the administration is proposing for the organization to achieve, and also just solicit views of our members in terms of which direction they want our organization to go. So that's what we will be doing this year. In addition to that, of course, we're transitioning to a new leadership. There will be elections for new leaders for ALJA. The SG and myself, we are ending our term and bidding farewell and retiring basically. So there will be and the vice president as well, Dr. Johnson as vice president. He's also is basically stepping aside. So there will be an entirely new corps of officers who will take over the running of ALJA, and we will have elections when we do meet for the convention here this weekend. So we will start on the 14th of September, which is on a Thursday. And Madam SG, again, please. Sometimes I do
It makes sense.
I forget some stuff. So I'm happy that both of us are today, so that way we're complementing each other. So we'll start on Thursday, and on Thursday we will visit media houses because I mentioned we have partnership with some of these media houses. The goal is to have our conferees who are coming just visit these media houses and see the new technology, our systems and the policies that what sort of system and policies they have in place, some of which they might want to take back to their institutions when they do go back. So that would be the reason, one of the reasons why we visit them. So we'll visit one of the largest public media houses here, public radio stations, the Minnesota Public Radio, on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. And then you can have these people come from far and near, and I have them at least see some of the beautiful sights and scenes we have here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. So we'll do a tour of downtown Minneapolis after we visit the Minnesota Public Radio. And then the next media house we will visit will be CCX Media, is a community television station. And the goal again is to just go in there and have them show us around, see some of the gadgets and the equipment, and have them run us through some of the things they do there, which I believe will be an eye opener for some of our people. And then later on that's Thursday evening, we will meet at the home of one of the local chapter members for a meet and greet session. And then on Friday, my message, you want to go to Friday, or you just want to?
On Friday, we're gonna have our media training again at the University of Minnesota. That's gonna be from 9 to 2, and then after the media training, we on Friday in the evening there's some little fun stuff there, some leisure and fun stuff. Yeah, we've been working so much for a very long time, for a long
Yeah.
year. Everybody
Oh,
very
yeah.
busy. Yeah, we got to clear our body and all of that. We're gonna have a boat ride and some fun
Look at
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna have our boat ride. We're gonna be
Oh,
sailing
wow.
on the still water of Minnesota. That's
Oh,
gonna
wow.
be at 6 p.m. And I hope I'm not missing anything for Friday. And then after that, we're going to have our formal meet and greet, because the Thursday meet and greet is just an introductory one, because we might not have all of our participants on Thursday. But for the folks that are coming from out of the country, that is just the comedian chapter's way of welcoming them into the Twin City, and giving our official welcome on behalf of ALJA. And our official meet and greet would be on a Friday at one of the members' house. And then on Saturday, we gonna have a media forum where we will have a discussion with some of our lead candidates in the 2023 national and general elections in Liberia. This year is election year in Liberia, is very crucial. Even though we have gotten just few positive responses from the candidates, we still look forward. We have few more days. We still look forward to more respond. We send an invitation to the ruling party and all other major contenders in the upcoming elections in Liberia. And after the media forum on Saturday, that runs straight into our General Assembly, where we have several deliberations. The national president going to be giving his report, and where you have the membership will be checked, making our report to make sure we did all of what was required, and it showed that we present a balanced report. And I know there would be audits all on the float and everything, but I trust our leadership. It was based on the confidence of our leadership that the body gives us that opportunity for the second term. And
Yeah.
then after the president gives his report, the local chapters, because ALJA also has different chapters. We have chapter in the Delaware Valley chapter that comprises of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, and then we have the the Midwest chapter. The host chapter is Minnesota and all other neighboring states that are closer to Minnesota. And then we have the New England chapter there, and also the DMV chapter. And all of these chapters going to be presenting their report for the year on a review, or the period on a review, to let the body knows of what have been their works and what they hope to achieve and their challenges for, and things that they see as things that have been obstacled in what it is, and ways to look forward to positivity for the next term. And also this year too, as Liberia is having their election, ALJA too will be having an election this year, where we will be electing a new code of officers for the next 2 years. Like Joe mentioned, we leaving, we are retired, very young retiree. We're not the African type where you don't want to leave. We are graciously turning over our term have expired. It's time for us to leave, leaving in the hands of qualified people. I trust the body have confidence in the next leadership or whoever going to take over. And we're going to have our elections. And after election, the big event, the one I really like, because that's where all the marketing and stuff comes about, is our banquet, our fundraising banquet. And that's going to be held at the Ebenezer Community Church there in the Brooklyn Center. And our program starts at 7 p.m. American time. To all of our ALJA members that are watching, to all of our supporters and everyone who intend to attend our event. The program starts American time at 7 p.m. and not Liberian time. And our guest speaker this year is a council member in the Colorado Springs state. She's a representative, and surprisingly, she's from a Liberian descent. So she have a lot of lineage to Liberia, and she's going to be our honorable guest speaker this year, Honorable Nakwita Briggs.
All right.
And after Saturday event, and on Sunday, in everything, you give God thanks. We're going to be having a Thanksgiving service on Sunday, praising God for carrying us through the year. We lost some of our members. Some of us still made it through. And after our Thanksgiving service, we're going to have a farewell luncher. And that does it for today. You can either, Mr. President, in terms of the awards and the awarding of our journalists from Liberia.
So before the presidents come in, the Secretary General, thank you. And I'm just going to, but anyway. So can you just tell us the lineup of the leadership? I forgot. Maybe I should have asked that from the beginning. So we have the president who's here with us, President Joe Mason, the national
Yeah.
president, and then the vice president. He said, Dr. Johnson. Do you want to tell us who is Dr. Johnson? Is it just a full name?
Oh,
And
for the national president, as you can see, I almost said Honorable Joe Macy, Mr. Joe Macy, Mr. Joe Macy, and
no,
our national.
he was to be president
he's
emeritus.
he's wearing chief stuff now, so I can probably refer to him as honorable. And then our dynamic vice president, who is not only here with us today, he is Dr. Sam Johnson, of a media name in the Liberian media. And also the national secretary is me, Akai, and our assistant national secretary, Mr. Peter Massaquoi. So those are the lineup of the leadership. All right.
Okay, thank you, Akai. Okay, so did you want Joe to complete something?
Yes, the awards.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the first time in our history as an organization, we decided as a leadership that it will be important for ALJA as an organization to recognize uh, the excellence in the profession, because too often what you hear is criticism. The challenges that the media face. That's sometimes can be what happens in the echo chamber. That they're not trained, that they lack ethics, there's no integrity. But we know that there are a lot of our colleagues who are doing some amazing work, and we believe it's important as an organization for us to recognize them, for us to applaud them, and say to them, we have seen the work you're doing. In that way, they continue to do the great work they're doing, but also others will be able to emulate the work they're doing as well. So, for the first time, we'll be recognizing a number of journalists who we believe have excelled in the profession. So we named an awards committee because we wanted to delineate the committee from the leadership. We did not want the leadership to influence this election in any way. So the committee came together, and based on the criteria that is set, they were able to select five of our colleagues, and those five individuals will be recognized when we do host our a banquet on the evening of Saturday, September 16th. They include Mr. Peter Kokwe, the former president of the West African Journalists Association, and the former president of the PEL. Our own Reverend Swa S. Dede was former president of the
Sorry,
PEL.
Joe, do you mean when you say PUL? Can you spell
Sorry,
that? P
the president of Liberia. Yeah, the president of Liberia. He was former president of the president of Liberia, and now is a member of, was chair of the Elections Commission, ALJA Elections Commission Association of Liberian Journalists Elections Commission. We also have amongst the honorees Mrs. Christina Sigwa Jimmy. She is the managing editor of the Inquirer newspaper, the first female so named to that position, and actually also one of the recipient of the ALJA Media Excellence Award. We also have Mr. Tados Tokba. Mr. Tokba is the executive director of Media Aid Foundation and also head the Peter Kokwe School of Journalism in Liberia. He's also one of the recipient, and Dr. Abdullah Dukle. Dr. Dukle teaches at Georgetown University. He's one of the regional funders of ALJA. He's also one of the recipient of the Media Excellence Award. We're very proud of these individuals who were named. We believe that they've done some good work. Again, like I said, the goal of the award is not to only say to these individuals, we recognize your work, but to also say to new aspiring is that, you know, uh, emulate these folks because they're watching you, they're seeing your work, and at some point they'll be able to say to you, you've done great work, and come receive your award. So yeah, so that will be on that Saturday during the convention.
Okay. All right. So, how can people support AJA's mission to uplift Liberian journalism?
Yeah, so there are different ways people can support our just work. One of the major ways, obviously, will be when we do meet for the fundraiser on Saturday the 16th. There will be different ways people can support. Uh, One of those ways is also contact individual member of ALJA, but also visit our website. I know there's some challenges with the website, even as I
Yeah.
speak, but the goal is to be able to use that platform as a way where people who to see the work we do, because the SG mentioned previously, our work is out there in the open. When we do make these presentations, they're carried live, and people get to see them. And I'll share this story with you. When we were in Worcester a year ago during our convention, an organization pledged to the media fund drive. Uh, for some reason, they forgot to fulfill that pledge. But when they watch the presentation of the gadgets, the logistics to the media. It was live coverage given that ceremony. They called right away and say, "Look, I see the work. I see evidence of Aja's work, and I'm going to fulfill my pledge." So, and then the person made good on their pledge as well. So, we're going to make sure that we're putting out information in terms of how people can be able to support the work that we're doing right now, but we are encouraging everyone in the Minnesota area, even if you're not in the Minnesota area, the program will be carried live. There will be ways you can contribute that will be displayed on the screen. in the hall and on the screen that we'll be watching in terms of how you can contribute to the media fund drive. So yeah, those are ways. So
Okay, thank you. Um, I know you may not have it from the at the top of your head right now, but any of you want to tell us the Secretary General can or the President, some of the media institutions that benefited from your donations, and what are some of the gadgets?
We donated micro recorders, laptop,
Okay.
and some of the institutions that benefited. It's both print and broadcast media, the Daily Observer newspaper, the Inquirer newspaper, the Independent newspaper, the New Democrat newspaper, the New Dawn newspaper, the Pepper Burr newspaper, and the Radio Kakata, like I mentioned, we also were provided equipment to where Leeward counties, Radio Buchanan, and Power FM and Power TV, the Women Voices newspaper, and the OK FM, to
Okay.
name a few. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. And so now you have told us what attendees are to expect at the convention and who are the future speakers. So how can journalists now, people who have not decided or people who are on the fence or people who were not aware, how can they now, journalists or individuals interested in the media, participate in the upcoming convention? Do we like buy a ticket? Do we like call you? Or yeah, like last minute people or people, yeah, how can people participate in the upcoming convention? And you say it's next weekend, right?
Yeah.
yes, it's on Saturday. So if you want to be a part of the activities itself, if you're in Minnesota and you want to be a part of the activities, um, we highlighting different activities. And if you're a journalist, you're free to join us. Whether it's doing a media tour that we will be engaging in on Thursday, or the workshop on Friday, or the event itself on Saturday. Tickets have been sold on Eventbrite. You can go on Eventbrite and just look for ALJA awards night and benefit.
Can you share the link? Is there a link, Joe?
Yes. Let me try to grab that. I can share that. You may share that in the
In
in
the
the yeah. I can share that
in the comment
in
in
the
the
chat.
comment section.
In the
Yeah.
com-
Yeah, I will do that right now. So yeah, so that's one way you can do to purchase ticket, but tickets will also be sold at the door when you go to the Ebenezer Community Church, where we will have the event. Again, like I mentioned, the event will be carried live. Information for how to contribute will be carried on the screen and also in the hall. But yeah, those are means through which you can be able to be a part of what we're doing.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about challenges and opportunities. What and this is not indictment, this is just recognizing or naming if there are issues, and we all know there are. Akai mentioned that in passing that the public is aware of the challenges. There are a lot of challenges. So, what are some of but the most pressing challenges facing journalists in Liberia today? What have you identified?
Unless you
This
want to
is
go, you mean?
I think one of the most
besides logistic issues, besides
y-
logistic,
y-
which you're attending
yeah,
to.
I think training. Yeah, I think training too, like training in different areas, like during our time in active journalism in Liberia, when we were fortunate to have for the Liberian Media Center in Liberia, and with fundings from the other organizations, Liberian Media Center contribute significantly to media empowerment in Liberia,
Development.
especially when we have when for instance the elections is coming right now, and if was during the days of the Liberian Media Center, you have seen training for reporters, especially those who going to be on the front line covering all the all of the events as it unfolds. You got to provide proper training, and sometimes the NMC will give out gadgets to because I can remember one of my very first modern day phone that I ever owned in Liberia was through the LMC and through the LMC with partnership from USAID. And when at that time I was covering the elections, and so it's not only about providing the training, but making sure that they have the gadgets to report. And I've noticed that with the proliferation of media institutions, I don't know how all of those media institutions have been accredited. Like everybody just going ahead and just opening radio station, opening a platform, and giving reports without the basic training that is needed. And this is not only the president of Liberia for, but every one of us too, even here in the diaspora, we all have a lot to do in terms of providing the needed training. And AJA has helped in that direction too. Like we provide training to the Female Journalists Association of Liberia that we did not mention. AJA had representatives in Liberia in a one-time a media journalist here. She's a member of AJA, Emma. Emma traveled to Liberia, and she was part of a development training workshop there held by the Female Journalists Association of Liberia. And in each and every way, we have tried to support the Liberian media. It can't only be AJA. There are other institutions that are doing this. But we just need the president of Liberia to do more intensive or coordinating the affairs and making sure who are those the ones that are opening station, making sure that people have those trained journalists that are reporting on issues. If you want to report on elections, what are the basic procedures to report on elections? How you go about doing the tallies, so we can have anybody just calling numbers, giving out provisional results when it's
They're
not
not accredited by NEC.
yeah,
Yes.
it's not accredited by NEC. We're going to have confusion. Even we see that during just local elections, like for counties election when they have been rerun, you have people already before the NEC present their official result. People already finish announcing winners and all of these things. So with this training that lacking, that's one of the things that's suffering the Liberian media. And now we have elections coming. I don't know how prepared the media is in terms of providing a very free and balanced space and providing the public and making sure that the public is aware of everything that is happening, creating that awareness that is balanced, not creating awareness with an influence of support for a certain political party.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that reminds me, like I mentioned earlier, then I help myself and like this is not about me, but having worked at the with the LMC, the Liberia Media Center for 6 years before I came over, five of them as a trainer. Yeah, we invested hugely in elections reporting, conflict sensitive reporting, just to make sure that we didn't revert to our wartime because those were fragile times. And then if people aren't trained, especially journalists aren't trained, they cause violence, the reoccurrence of violence through their actions, whether knowingly or unknowingly. But you mentioned a PUL. So how is ALJA tackling ethics and professional standard issues within a journalism community in partnership with the PUL? Are you even in partnership with the PUL by any means, in any way?
Yes. So obviously, we recognize the PL as the mother organization of journalists in Liberia. We have a really good partnership with the PL. We've had that over the last few years. Unfortunately, the PL itself is facing challenges now when it comes to leadership. But we've talked about some of those issues during our convention here. I remember when Mr. Coffey, the former president, visited the U.S. and was part of our convention in 2019. I guess that was those are issues we talked about. We've tried during the course of our many conversations as journalists, to just look at some of those hard issues, because we do have challenges. We have to admit, we're the ones out there, we're the watchdogs, we're the one out there holding folks accountable. We ourselves need to recognize the issues that exist amongst ourselves and see how we can work towards. And I know the secretary mentioned training. I mean, you can also talk about, issues around ethics and integrity. We talked about the fact that the media is underpaid. Most folks work in the media and they don't make a livable wage. And that's something that is challenging, because it's hard to be able to preach, ethics and integrity to journalists if the person is not making a livable wage. Those are really difficult issues that we will continue to sit down as an organization in partnership with the PL, of course, and not just the PL, but other organizations as well, and that we can say to ourselves, how do we counter these issues, these challenges that the media is facing right now? I know there have been discussions about having a collective bargaining agreement. There have been talks about having media merger, because there, as you mentioned, the proliferation of media institutions, and you have, few qualified journalists, who are in these institutions, but you have a lot of people who, because of necessity, these institutions have to fill their newsroom, or have people hold these microphones who don't have the training. So all these challenges present themselves. Is not, I think that's something that can be resolved overnight, and not by one institution. So to your point, it has to be an engagement that we continue to have as organizations, BL and ALJA, in terms of just finding ways how we combat these issues. But it's something that is very concerning for us, and I think as I leave too, when I look back on the last few years, it's something that we've not been able to tackle, and that's a regret I have. And I'm hopeful that as the new leadership come in, they'll be more aggressive, more intentional, reaching out to PL and finding ways, not just reaching out, but coming together and see how we can resolve these issues that exist within the media landscape.
Okay. And Akai mentioned that AJA had partnered with FIJA, the Female Journalists Association, did some training with them, and I think that was the year before. Uh, did you is our continual partnership? Because my question is coming from a place where I had a question about what role does AJA play in supporting women in politics and in journalism. So, do you have an ongoing partnership, or was it a one-time thing hit and run on just to check your list that we work with women with them, or is that something that you're going to continue doing?
I just posted a link to the Eventbrite, the event itself, so anyone who wants to purchase our ticket can be able to do that. And there's you can also try on this. Our expectation is that it will be an ongoing exercise. I believe the challenges that exist, not just more generally, but within the female journalists as well. And when we reached out to the president, the goal was, how can, because the last thing we want to do is micromanage, training from afar. We don't know what the needs are, amongst our colleagues, and so our approach was to have a sit down with the president and the leadership and say, what is it that you all believe ATA can do to make that difference when it comes to female journalists in Liberia? And at the
I'm sorry,
time, we
when
were
you say
holding the
president, I
convention.
missed that.
I'm
When
sorry.
you say president, I probably missed that. Do
Oh,
you mean
I'll talk about, yes,
the president of
the president
Liberia?
of the Female Journalists
Mhm.
Association of Liberia. When we
Oh,
had the discussion, was to say to
Seattle
her,
Johnson.
yes,
Seattle. Mhm.
was to say to her on a co-leadership, what is it that you all believe ADA can do to help, because you know the need that exists. And so they identified the training need that existed, and were able to source professionals to be able to meet the need that existed at the time. And when we engaged them, they were having, I think, their annual convention. And so fortunately, many of the journalists from outside Monrovia had come to town. And so it was a perfect opportunity for us to not just engage them to provide training, but then we also said to them, what is it that you believe you need in terms of logistics? And they identified that as well. And so we're able to provide the logistics. The next year, the goal was to actually send some of our colleagues here to Liberia, engage them in Liberia, and continue this effort. Unfortunately, that did not materialize, but I believe it needs to be an ongoing exercise, an ongoing engagement with FIJA, the Female Journalists Association, to see how ALJA can be consistently involved and where ALJA can continue to help out in ways that it can. So no, I don't think it should not be a one-time thing. It should be, an engagement that goes on a regular and consistent basis.
Okay. All right, great. I'm going to move quick to just because we wanted to work within 1 hour. So how is AJA contributing to ensuring transparent and violence-free elections in Liberia this year? We've been mentioning this is elections year, and I think the theme of AJA convention is something around the election. So you give us a theme again. What is the theme?
So the theme is how can the media ensure a transparent and violence-free general elections in Liberia? And when the leadership sat down, because the leadership has a responsibility to craft the theme every year for the convention. And when we sat down and thought about what is it that we wanted the focus to be on, we quickly, move on to that particular topic because we believe it is essential for the peace that we currently enjoy to sustain our democracy. We believe it's important for the election to be transparent, but more importantly, we believe that it's important for it to be violence free. So that is the overall theme and focus of this convention. And many of our speakers will speak to that as well. Embedded in this theme also is female participation. How can we get majority of females to participate in the exercise? We have two of our colleagues who are coming from Monrovia to speak to this theme as well. So that is why we decided to speak on this theme because, and again, I said on another platform, I was pleased to listen to the chairperson of the Elections Commission say that unequivocally that these elections will be free, they will be fair. As a matter of fact, she said there's no way, they can be tampered with. We're pleased by that. We want to hold on to her word. So, we are part of many organizations that's adding our voice to ensuring that at the end of the day, when votes are cast, those votes are reflective of the desire, the reflective of the needs and the aspiration of Liberian people.
Yeah, in addition to the elections, also interestingly, we're going to have some of our colleagues there from AJAC who will be representing the organization on ground in Liberia to
Yeah,
cover
that's
the entire elections activities. We're going to have, I think, 3 or 4 of our colleagues. So
okay.
that's a very good one to see AJAC being involved, not typically relying on reports from local media there in Liberia. We are on the ground, we seeing what's going on, and we have confidence in those who will be representing AJA there, and we can assure everyone that AJA going to provide a balanced and very transparent report. Mhm.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because that was my concern. Like, how is Agile contributing to doing that? So
Yes.
thanks for answering that. So, what can you say is the I'm just trying to squeeze into these few minutes, but um, what do you think is the association's most significant? I know the association have done a lot, but if you were to say what stood out for you as a president of Agile, what has been your most memorable experience, and what can you say is the most significant achievement of Agile to date since 1998? If you cannot speak to that period, just judging from the time that you got involved and became active, then the Secretary General can also respond to that.
Yes. So yeah, I will speak to my tenure as president in terms of what has been more pleasing and satisfying to me. Is the fact that AJA has been involved in a way that uh, our partners and our friends in the media in Liberia found very beneficial. I know when we recently presented logistics to the media, one of the journalists who responded said a few things that were very profound. He was, he talked about the need that existed and the fact that, from my end, I believe what we did was still insignificant, but they felt that that was huge. It was a big first step that we were able to get engaged and provide the logistics that we did. And for
The
me,
logistics.
it spoke to how people perceive ALJA and the role we can continue to play in the media landscape. And we should not take it for granted that that this organization can fulfill that role. Sometimes I think we don't recognize the magnitude of the effect we can have on people as an organization. And hopefully, as we go on, that is something, we'll continue to do, step up our assistance to the media. The other thing that I want to mention also is when we launched the Joseph Ted Memorial
Okay.
Scholarship, that for me was also moving in two ways. One, when you get testimonial from people who lives you were able to impact, for example, the students who go to the
University of
school who
Nigeria.
benefit from our assistance, the letter they write, it just tells you how difficult it would have been ordinarily where we're now reaching out to provide this assistance in a small way. The other thing was that was also moving for me was to see the widow of Mr. Ted at our convention in Worcester, Massachusetts, not just come by herself, but brought the entire family
Family.
to that event to say to us that thank you so much for recognizing the work that my husband has done and establishing this scholarship in his memorial because now his name becomes a legacy going forward. And that was also so moving for me. And not only that, but they said, put your money where your mouth is. The entire family raised, I think it was well over 1,000
Okay. I
somewhere
was like,
to donate to ALJA to say to us, look, this is our family. We are identifying with what you're doing. We believe in what ALJA is doing and want to identify with you in this way. So those two things for me, and there are a lot of other things I can cite, but for me, those two things I think was very moving and very profound.
Okay, the testimonials from students of the University of Liberia Mass Communication Department,
Correct, correct.
and then the
And the
Joseph Ted
testimonial from
family,
the, yeah, yeah.
identifying with us. So I don't want to us to assume that other viewers, people who are watching, are aware of who Mr. Joseph Ted is. So Akai, do you want to tell us a little
Mr.
bit about,
Joseph Ter.
yeah,
Oh,
who
Mr.
is
Joseph Ter. He was a Liberian journalist. He contributed a lot to media empowerment in Liberia. He worked with
okay.
several prominent stations in Liberia. Joseph Ted is a household name in the Liberian media. And something that really stuck in my mind, even up to present, when I think about my involvement in AJA, I just take a picture of Joe Ted. Like for all of since I joined AJA, for all of the conventions I have attended, and seeing someone who's not very well still making his time always, even though he's not in Liberia, but he's in the diaspora, he's still contributing to media development. That is something I'm so, so grateful for. And that's what I would say to most of my friends. And I'd be like, if he can do it, every one of us we can do it. If he can take up that time from his, and most of the time when Joe Tech comes to the convention, it's like he's cutting down family responsibility. Like if his son has to go to work for that weekend, he has to call up because Mr. Joe Tech coming with his son, he coming with his wife. And also, when all of these people who have served in the Liberian media for so many years, still willing to get involved and be engaged. So, what motivated me, who I consider to be very energetic, what is holding me back for me to contribute to what Aja is doing. So, like Joe mentioned, when he was talking about the Joe Terry Memorial, I was just laughing. I was like, "Oh yeah, he finished studying my some of the things I already caught up because yes, I don't even know whether he can remember because I mentioned that to him after the event because I was standing at the door selling tickets. I was so impressed because you see the joy from his wife and the family, that were at the event, they were all glad. It was not like, okay, we just here because we want to be here. And when I interacted with some of the family members, I also realized that some came from out of state. They were now all from the Massachusetts area that we were. So to see a family collectively involving themselves in something that we support media development. So what motivated me as an ALJA member? What motivated me? Whatever I can do to support a media development, that should be left on my shoulders. So if anybody in ALJA today, you want to say, oh, I'm tired with ALJA or something is happening, think about Joe Tech. If
Yeah.
anybody in ALJA today, you want to decide to sit on the fence, be that, oh no, I don't want to care, because everybody, we get some differences. Somebody will hear you some way, some way, some way, some way. But just think about Joe Tech. And those were some of the memorable times that I can recall in ALJA. And for the fact that you see ALJA, because there were, I think, couple of years ago, there was somebody, ex-government official, referred to ALJA. I don't want to say what he said, gave ALJA some kind of name. And at that time, the public were not very aware of the workings of ALJA. All they thought we were just a group who was going to issue press release, talk to the government, talk to the government, talk to the government. And interesting is not all about ALJA. We are also involved. We are also contributing to the Liberian media, for which people were not aware because of the misinformation they were receiving in the public. So for the fact that all of our works have been placed over there, and now the public having time to really get involved, getting to know the works of ALJA, and the respect and prestige for ALJA has grown. So look at what happened in Minnesota with the partnership with the Minnesota uh, the Department of Public Health. If they wouldn't have that confidence and trust in ALJA, why would they want to work with an organization to do awareness campaign during COVID? I'm sure there are several reputable organizations there in Minnesota. Why
I,
ALJA? So this just speak to the fact that ALJA is a highly respected organization, and all of our workings are there in the public, contrary to what people think, that we are just a press release group, just go out there, go eat, go chill during the weekend. No, that's not just all about it. We are all about media development. We are all about media empowerment. And we not only focusing on people, we also think about ourselves. Last year, during our convention, we had somebody who came to talk about finance. We live in America. We have to know how to control our money, how to save our money. So we are also empowering ourselves as well. We have people we have had speakers who talk about insurance. There are people who in ALJA don't have much information about life insurance and how to have a health insurance coverage and all of these things. So this is not a fun play thing or a low party ground where we can just meet once a year and go and dance and go and chill. This is something very substantial. And this is something that's not only benefiting the Liberian media, but we are empowering ourselves as well. So there's a whole lot of substances I can attest to when I mention power, our leadership, and thanks to the Joe Mason leadership, this is my second time working with me, my second and a half time working with him, because the very first time I rubbed shoulders with the Joe Mason leadership, it was when the then secretary was turning over because of some family engagement and extended responsibility that he could not serve ALJA in that capacity. He had to withdraw. And I was asked to step in at that time as acting Secretary General. And then I was with Joe Mason. I followed Joe Mason for 2 years. And I'm very impressed with all of the works. And I can gladly say I'm retiring in peace with a very honorable team.
oh my God, that is so amazing. Yeah, audience, I know I mentioned a few times 1 hour, but apparently we have to go an hour and a half because Akai has raised a few things, and I just want to add on. But yeah, you step up, and then after that, you serve 2 terms with Joe Mason. So there is no time Joe Mason leadership is going to be mentioned as a success, and Akai is not mentioned, and Dr. Samuel Johnson is not mentioned as well. But I wanted to add to what Akai said about it's not all about hanging out and having fun. Aja has been making a lot of impacts in the background, and I would just I know I'm supposed to be outside like a
For your
outside.
memoir, I just so it's kind of hard.
For now, I'm tempted to say yeah. For now, I'm tempted to say yeah. Some of the testimonials in the letters that some of us read, Joe mentioned, but not specifics. But there are a few like somebody talking about this has helped me. My school fees has been paid, then at least now I can focus on because transportation to get to the university or books. So I just want to say thank you to Aja, and it's just really heartwarming when you read some of the thank you letters that people send to appreciate for what Aja is doing in their life, professionally and personally. So yeah, I just wanted to add that there are things that Aja is doing, but maybe we just need to create more visibility about the kind of things that we involve with so that we can attract partners. Because like Joe said, the other people had to see the video of donation before they say, hey, I see something is really happening. I want to be a part of it. So maybe we should do more of this kind of conversations so that we can be able to put ourselves out there and attract the public to support what we're doing. Make our world better over here and overseas. And I just wanted to also add about Joe Ted. Joe Ted was this amazing, amazing man. He was an Agile member and he passed away when?
I
When did
believe
I
it
think it
was
was
2021.
2021 in March.
2021. So this was a man who was, yeah, he lived overseas. His heart was so into helping the media landscape. I remember 2018, I did a presentation on gender equality in the media and the support that the women need. And after the presentation, he came to me and said, how can I help, a women organization or female journalists? And then I told him and I introduced him to the lady who was representing the woman at the time, the women radio stations in Liberia. And later I found out that he donated, logistics, recorders, computer, just working tools, and it was just amazing that he just looks for a way to be of support. And he was a really kind and good person, professionally and personally. And so the impact that he made on the Liberian landscape, media landscape, was some of the reasons that Aja decided we're going to, name something in his honor, and so that his legacy can live on. So I wanted to add that as well for our audience who are not aware of who Mr. Joseph Ted was. Um, but yeah, is there any other thing that we left out that you want to touch on before we go? Is there anything else you'd like to share or emphasize that we haven't covered yet?
The only thing I'd like to add is just to express, and Akai said it directly, just to express my thanks and appreciation to my co-officers, Dr. Sam Johnson, the Vice President, who was on for one term, and Akai as well, as you correctly mentioned, who was on for the entirety of the time I was president, the Assistant Secretary General, Mr. Peter Massacre, to our chapter, the different chapter presidents and committee heads and members of different committees. None of what we've talked about today, none of what we've accomplished over the last 4 years would have been possible without the collective support of every single one of them. So I'm just so grateful, and I'm honored to have served as president of this organization for the last 4 years. And I'm so grateful for all the successes we've had, the obstacles that came our way that we tried to surmount, and that the Secretary General mentioned, I'm at peace because we've done the best job that we could possibly do over the last 4 years. And we know we're leaving ALJA in a good place, and we're looking forward to lend our support to the new leadership.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Um,
for my parting comments, my parting comments will be financial. Like for everyone watching and viewing this program, if you maybe you ready, then I make up your mind to attend the event. This is an opportunity. I'm extending an open invitation to you. Even if you don't live in the Midwest area, the link has been posted here. You can buy a ticket even if you're not attending the event, just to support the works of ALJA. The website is down right now. That's going to be worked on later. You can go on our webpage, and there are options there where you can click the donate button and donate to the works of ALJA. And this has been a wonderful opportunity sharing my experience with these incredible leaders, senior media professionals, rubbing shoulders with them. I'm blessed. And it's been also a wonderful experience working with all of you for this length of time. I've built a lot of families in ALJA, and thank you all for the support and to the incoming leadership. Whatever we can do to lend our hands, whatever we can do to continue this partnership, whatever we can do to make ALJA to continue to be that vibrant organization, we will. So thank you all so much, and thank you, Priscilla, for having. This is my first time. I was very surprised to hear that this was the first time of the
Yeah,
president, because
yeah,
he all
yeah.
over the
First
place.
time
I
as
went
well.
there
First time,
like
yeah. And
7 times.
she waited when we were walking out the door to give us an invite. Like, I can't understand that. But hopefully,
I been here like seven times.
we don't have to be. Akai, I don't think we have to be officers of ALJA now to come back on the show. So maybe the next time sometime we'll be able to talk about other things. But I think it's been an honor. It's a pleasure, Priscilla. Thank you so much for just having us talk about ALJA and our convention coming up. Thank you again for. I know I've listened to. And you mentioned I've listened to this program, and I've been able to offer my own advice here and
feedback
there.
in the background.
Yeah, in the background, a background supporter, and I'm
Don't
just
say
happy that.
this. You should do it like this. Yeah. Yeah, but
Well,
yeah,
thank you
thank
for all
you.
the work you do. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Okay.
So much.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for honoring our in that. So your name some chapters, and then you didn't even name the Arizona chapter. We need to have one Arizona chapter. Um
Maybe that rests upon your shoulder.
remember.
All right.
You start working. You don't know. Once you start creating that chapter, making few phone calls,
Southwest.
you might find like 10 persons.
I'm
Southwest
also hearing
chapter.
there are campaigns on the way for Priscilla to relocate. There are active campaigns for her to relocate to one of the other chapters. I don't know what she will do. So.
So I hope not the Midwest. You want to put in the core?
No, we'll start our Southwest chapter in Arizona, and then
All
we'll have
right,
California
all right,
joining us.
all right.
Yeah, but no, yeah, thank you for honoring us. So, guys, listeners and viewers, yeah, thank you for staying with us. It has been an honor to have on a new day today the president and the secretary general of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, AJA for short. And AJA convention is going to be on September 14th to the 17th, 2023 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We encourage you to please join us. And if you are close to there, join us or encourage relatives and friends and co-workers or people in your professional networks as well as social networks to follow us. How much are the tickets? Sorry, I completely forgot to ask that.
The tickets are $40 a single. We don't have couple tickets this year, so if you and your wife is coming, or you and your partner, it's $40 per person, and then we have patron tickets for $100 and special patron for $150. Also, if you have a business that you want to advertise to promote, please reach out to us as well. We have spaces in our souvenir program to advertise the business, and we have our red carpet banner where we are putting sponsors as well. So it's an opportunity given the number of people we expect to come for you to be able to just share your business with our guests that will be at the program.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you're headed, or we looking forward to having your engaging with ALJA this coming weekend is beginning. The activities are beginning on Thursday. Um, After that, we'll see you the Sunday after, because next Sunday we're going to be is all going to be about Aja this weekend. Thank you for staying with us all this time, and thank you,
Thank
my
you.
guests, for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you, Priscilla.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, okay,
Okay, well,
take care. Bye.
Bye.
bye.